strap in tight, it's Sunday night. We're setting lineups, feeling right. Stats and picks, no fantasy flops. We're chasing wins, we're calling shots. Quarterbacks and sleeper steals, red zone thrills and highlight reels. From the draft to the final play, we break it down the fields of fantasy way. It's fields of fantasy, let's ride. Where the glitter and dreams come alive. With DFS and gold and NFL truth, we've got your Sundays bulletproof.
Welcome to DFS with Fields of Fantasy. It's your boy Dowie, and we are on week 15. The weeks are flying, but I've got a little Christmas present for you. We've got the return of Josh. How you doing, mate?
Buzzing to be back, mate. Absolutely buzzing. Missed it.
And you've had a little festive treat the last few weeks. Your Texans looking good.
I know. I'm starting to get my hopes up a little bit, and I feel like it might be a bit of a downfall, but things are playing in our favour. Daniel Jones has gone down. We're starting to get some good results. Playing unbelievable. That defense is unreal.
Yeah, you know what? When I watch the Texans, like everyone likes offense, don't they? But when you watch that Texans D, like fucking hell, against the Chiefs, like some of them tackles, they're just a violent defense.
Wins championships. Don't get me wrong. I don't think like we're in with a shout of winning. I think the stronger teams, but like you look at the teams that win the Super Bowl. You look at what Philadelphia did to the Chiefs last year in that Super Bowl final. Like that is wins your games. Is what you can build off it. You got a good D that keeps teams kicking field goals and things like that. Like, but they just got dogs, man, and he just lets them off the chains. DeMarco Ryan just that's his bread and butter, his defense, and I think he's gotten well drilled, well trained. Like they're rushing the quarterback and getting sacked with 3, and then he just that secondary, he's just that shot that Petrie put on. I think it was Xavier Worthy.
It was Rashee Rice, wasn't it?
Rashee Rice, he absolutely panned him, and I'm like, that's unbelievable. Like
Did you see the meme for it?
Nah.
Like, because Rashee Rice got done, didn't he? Drink drive, he hit someone.
Yeah.
Said, how does it feel to be on the other end of it?
Mate, he's one of them where you just don't see, he's like absolutely lit up, and you're like, and I just think with that, he just gives us good platform. Like, we're not asking too much of Stroud at the moment. I just, like, it's giving him opportunities to get going, and he's starting to look a little bit better. Offensive line's starting to slowly click, and he's got a little bit more protection. So it's looking good, man. Nico Collins playing well. So we've hit a rich round of form, like coming into the back end of the season, and again with the Colts, who was obviously flew ahead, that have now lost obviously Daniel Jones and things like that. It's giving us the chance to hopefully clinch the division and get that home playoff. It's still within touching distance, really.
Yeah. I think this is the year to win it as well, because I believe it's the weakest, the better teams have been.
Yeah, I think you look around and you look at the Bills, the Ravens look poor, Chiefs don't look the same. Like I say, they were missing 3 of their offensive line against the Texans, and you could see that was obviously a problem. Like Mahomes is when Mahomes is under pressure and he can't sit there and pick a team apart, which is what he's really good at. It's and Kelsey just looks a shadow of himself. Like everyone's saying he's going to retire this year, and I personally think, as bad as it sounds, I think he's a legend of the game. He probably should have done it last year and gone out in a Super Bowl playoff, Super Bowl sort of contention. Because if they don't get there this year and don't do well in the playoffs, just retire on a bit of a sour note. So,
yeah. And I don't think they're going to get there. When I look on the AFC side, I think, even though I actually think the Texans might be a better team, I don't think you can argue the Patriots are the number one. They are the number one, I think.
But I said to you though, didn't I? This when we did the AFC and we like all them podcasts start the season, and I think I said it then that I thought they'd be underdogs. I thought they'd be fighting for a wild card. I don't think they'd be as good as what there was, but I feel like they're a well drilled, well organised team. Drake May's performing really well, and I think then you look at I think the big surprise for me was the Broncos. I think the Broncos have been obviously a king coming out of your division, but the Broncos, we were talking about the Chargers and things like that, but they're looking really, really good. Again, that defense is just it's shutting teams down.
Yeah, I think there's five teams in the AFC. I think the Patriots are the best team. I'd I wouldn't want to play the Bills, even though they haven't been as good as they have been. They do turn up, don't they, in certain weeks,
Yeah,
and they're still not.
especially playoffs in if you're in Buffalo as well.
Mm,
That weather conditions just like they know how to play. If you're coming from to say you're the Texans or you're coming from a warm weather sort of climate, indoor, going to play there in the snow in January, you it's a humbler.
and they've got Josh Allen, and you can never go against Josh Allen unless
Nah.
it's against the Chiefs in the playoffs. So I think I look at the Patriots and the Bills would be my two, and then I think the other three teams are the Texans. I say Texans are the most on-form team.
Yeah,
I think the Broncos are just very. I wouldn't want to play the Broncos,
nah.
and I still think the Chargers are a good team.
Yeah, I do. I think
If they have had the
Amari Hampton
offensive,
coming back he's massive for him as well. Look, he come back with a bit of a bang last week as well. Um, but yeah, I do know what you're saying. I think
I think
it's
Chargers they've been the team who've been hit the most by injuries with that offensive line, haven't they? Because before,
oh
like,
yeah.
they had Slater all injured, and I think that's probably going to be their downfall. But I still think they're a good team. So they're the five teams. I think the NFC is pretty weak.
I think this year has been really hard you haven't looked and gone like last year the Eagles were
Yeah,
tearing it apart, the Lions were like pulling away. I feel like this year has been real hard to pick and real hard to sort of look and go. It's a lot of teams that you wouldn't expect to have really sort of veered the head, and all the teams that have kind of been there for the last few years, like the Ravens, the Chiefs, they've all kind of dropped off a little bit.
yeah. Eagles haven't been the
49
same.
Eagles, 49ers, they've all kind of fell away a little bit. So I think it's been good for the neutral because you're starting to see teams that you probably wouldn't sort of look at, and I think it may be as it always happens that changing of the guard where these
Yeah,
teams are coming through. That like for the Texans, we've got a young team coming through, but in 2 or 3 years when I start paying some of these players,
yeah,
that's where you start to see that change. It's happened to the Chiefs where they've had to pay Eagles where they've had to pay big like some of their bigger players, which means that you weaken the side in time. Whereas the Patriots have had their cap. I think they had the highest cap, didn't they, going into to spend going into the summer, and now look at them like
yeah.
they've invested it well and they're doing what and doing really well after it. So um, it's been a bit of a strange one.
Yeah. But we've got a massive stacked slate this weekend. Like this seems like the biggest
Yeah,
slate I've seen in a while. Now, have you got any guess what you think the high scoring game on the Vegas line is at the minute? It,
I've
it,
got
it,
I've got two,
let's see
and
what you are.
I've got Detroit Rams,
That is a high scoring game.
and my other one would have been Baltimore Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's the second highest. So you got the Rams at 54.5, and you've got the Ravens and the Bengals at 51.5. So they're the two highest scoring games, but quite a lot of the games are quite low scoring.
Yeah,
The Cardinals, Texans, 42.5. Bills and the Pats, actually, that's 49.5. So that's a high scoring game. You got Browns and the Bears, 38.5. Raiders, Eagles, 38.5. Chargers and Chiefs. I actually think that could be a bit more of a shootout than people think, but that's 41.5. I'd definitely back
mm,
the over on that. Commanders, Giants is 48. So that's a high scoring game. Panthers and the Saints 40. I don't like it. Green Bay and the Broncos 42. Colts and the Seahawks 42. That could, I suppose, now you're looking with the quarterback situation at the Colts. That's where the issue is, isn't it?
yeah. Look, obviously, I think they've signed Philip Reeves, haven't they? He's 44 year
Rivers,
old.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, Philip Rivers, and they've brought him back out of retirement, 44, and you're like bit of a mad one to me.
And then
But
you've got Titans and 49ers. So I think there's a fair few one-sided games this week as well.
yeah,
So where you going at quarterback?
I've gone with the high scoring, and I've gone with Jared Goff.
I did look at that play because he was a good price.
Yeah, 17.9 mil. I think his price point is really good for some of the quarterbacks in there. When you look and you've got the likes of Josh Allen, Drake May, Jackson Dart, Lamar Jackson. They're all high up with really in terms of like prices and stuff. And I thought 17.9 mil, especially with before knowing that I thought it'd be one of the high scoring games or predicted to be the high scoring games. I've gone with that. I was looking at potentially going with Matthew Stafford, but Matthew Stafford was 18.7.
Hmm.
And I thought he really see the high like at a mil. I could use that mil somewhere else. I could do with it somewhere else. So I went with Jared Goff,
Yeah, I like it.
especially against the Rams.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's good. I think that's you could go Goff Stafford. I think you could have gone Lamar Burrow, and I think you could have gone Drake May or Josh Allen. I think them six would be the six I would be looking at.
Yeah.
But I haven't gone with any of them, Josh.
Okay.
So I've struggled the last few weeks, and I've changed tactics, and I built my running backs first, and
Yeah.
I spent a fortune, so I've had to cut back on my team. So you know what I thought? I thought Josh is back this week. Let's go with CJ Stroud.
You know what? I'm mad you say that because I looked at Shroud. I looked at Shroud. He's a bargain.
15.7 cheap.
Yeah.
Texans are the most on-form team.
Yeah.
They've got to win.
Yeah.
You know, it's a must-win. I think he looks actually last couple of weeks since the actual injury and Davis Mills doing well. I don't think he looks a lot more confident and like you
Yeah.
said, maybe the O line what's getting better and he's getting. You know, you got a new offensive play caller. Is it that they're all just getting used to that as well?
I'm hoping so. Like, I feel like there's been a big change since he's come back. I feel like he looks more composed, more poised. His decision making's a lot better. I think he's making. I feel before he was trying to make maybe believed in his own hype and was like trying to make big plays and force it,
Mm.
and he's wasn't happening for him. Where I think he's naturally letting plays happen now, which is what he was originally doing, relying on that play action and things like that. And I feel like maybe not having Joe Mixon at the start of the year, getting used to that running game getting going. I think that's a staple for the Texans to allow Nico Collins and other people. So, but I think I honestly I did look. I thought 15.7 is an absolute bargain. So I think that's a great shout. I think it's probably still of the picks.
So, like I said, I'm gonna go with my running backs because you're gonna see a reason why my team is a bit cheap and weak everywhere else.
Go on and hit me with it.
First running back, CMC, 23 million.
See
Playing
that Tennessee, yeah.
right. I would argue now, I'm not saying he's going to be, but if you was to look at the slate and players, who you think is going to be the highest scoring player this week, who's not a quarterback, I think CMC is one, isn't he? Against the Titans, he's going to run. They're going to run the ball heavy. He gets the pass catching. He scores high against good teams. So against bad teams, I think he's the number one player on the board. But at 23 million, it does affect the rest of your team.
Oh yeah, 100%.
My running back two,
Go
Derrick
on.
Henry, 17.3. I thought he looked really good last week. He looked like he'd roll back the years, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I have him in my fantasy, and he was doing bits for me. He looked like they finally got him going because yeah, looked he hasn't looked the same this year, has he?
No. And the Bengals are one of the worst teams against the run. So I think CMC and Derrick could be massive, massive scorers. But I've also
Yeah,
got another running back. I've gone RB heavy. I've now targeted one of the teams who want the number one pick. I've gone with ETN, 15.1 million. He's
yeah.
had a good season, hasn't he? You
Oh
know,
yeah, definitely.
he gets the bulk carries, he gets pass catching. People forget Jets trading. Who did they trade? The big defender. His name skipped me to the
What?
Cowboys.
Oh, Williams.
Williams traded him.
Yeah,
William William. He was their main run stopper. He's gone.
yeah.
So Jets are just a team you can throw and pass the ball, throw and run the ball against. And I think ETM will be the main weapon. And I would also argue actually the Jags are looking really good at the minute as well.
Ah, yeah, I like it.
So they're my three running backs.
Yeah, it's again to all the people that listening, we don't confer on any of these picks before we get onto this, and I have gone with the same as you, 2 out of 3.
Oh,
So the two are ETN and Derrick Henry. I've gone a little bit cheaper with the my third running back as I've gone a little bit higher on my wide receivers, and I've gone with Swift playing the Browns. I feel like he's probably one of the most underrated sort of running backs this year with what he's done for Chicago and really sort of helped Caleb Williams out. And in the Ben Johnson offense, we know like he's very reliant on his running backs. Um, and I thought a 12.1 million where I know um, they've got a decent defense in the Browns, but I still think that he's going to score well, and I think he's going to do really well. So I've gone with him at 12.1 mil.
yeah, I like it. I think, my only argument I would say with Swift, you see, is it Mowgli or Mungo?
Yeah,
He's starting to get a bit more work, but still think at the price he pays it off.
yeah, I think it's a similar concept with like Gibbs and Montgomery. I feel like he's getting them plays, but I feel majority will get from Swift. But I looked at just what he's scoring off who they're against, but then I needed to get somebody in because I've kind of gone a bit of an average, bit of the higher end with my wide receivers. Um, so he was kind of having to play around with the money of who I could get in and what productivity I could get out of them.
I still think I have a lot of shares in Swift in fantasy. Like I've got 20 teams and I've probably got about 10 shares in Swift because I think he is an underrated running back. So
Yeah,
I've gone wide receiver. Obviously, I've got three wide receivers, and as you can tell by my running backs, I've had to save a bit because I've
yeah,
got 11 million more with CMC over. So that's had to be spent, saved.
go
So
on him.
when I've looked at it, I thought I've got to get players who I think are playing teams who are weak.
Yeah,
Or not weak, could be in a shootout. Devontae Adams, 15.7.
yeah, very good.
That we hope it's a shootout. It's one of them. If you go with Puka, Devontae Adams always scores really high. If you go with Devontae Adams, Puka always scores high. So, what 15.7 is my highest wide receiver I could afford, and I think it's a good matchup to target.
No, definitely. It's mad though because Davante Adams isn't on my fan team.
Mm.
Yeah, he's not on there.
Unless he's been ruled out since last night.
Yeah, he's just like I said, I double check that because when on my fan team, he's not there. 15.7, he's not around.
That's an interesting one. I'm actually going to log on and have a look. But my second wide receiver, I've now tried to target a team you can put up points. The wide receivers are not good. We've had a few injuries there as well.
Yeah,
Devontae Smith, 13.2.
yeah, that was a bargain. Again, somebody I looked at, he was in around there. Yeah,
So when I look at it, I had to save. Well, I haven't got a lot of money to spend, so I had to go with someone who I think could have a high scoring game for his price. I've gone with Smith.
yeah,
And my third wide receiver, I've took a gap. This is the one that could kill me. 11.2 million. Gone with Jaden Higgins.
okay, yeah, I see that. Well, the thing is, we say this every week. If you've gone quarterback, you've got to go wide receiver
Yeah.
because if Shard had an absolute monster game, you want to hope that a wide receiver's getting some plays out of it. So you've got to fit someone in, ain't you? Really?
So
Um,
yeah, obviously I couldn't afford Nico. So
no, no,
so I thought if Stroud's got to do well, he's got to throw the ball.
yeah,
I think Higgins starting to look really good.
yeah.
So that's where I've gone.
No, I like it. I think Higgins definitely. I looked at Devontae Smith. I think him and Terry McLaurin. I think he's come back and started off, and then the only more outside one, which I think is a bit of a bargain if you can get him, Jacoby Myers
Yeah, I like Jacoby Myers.
playing the Jets. He started off. He's starting to like last few weeks play really well. I feel like he's kind of putting competition on Brian Thomas Jr. for wide receiver one at Jacksonville. Um, and like we were saying about Eaton and Jacksonville looking good, I feel he was a big part of it. So, and I think at 13.2, I think his price point is. I feel like he's a bit of a bargain. So It might even be cheaper than that. Just for people out there that might be looking to try and nick a cheap wide receiver. My receivers, like I said to you, I've gone a little bit higher. Um, and I've gone with my highest one is Nico Collins, 16.9 million.
That's who I wanted, to be honest. But
Yeah, I went with him. I feel like Arizona, the way that the Texans are playing, I needed to try and get someone from the Texans in there. Um, my second one, I couldn't get Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I've gone with Jameson Williams. Again, I feel like because I've gone with Goff, I need to get another wide receiver in. I feel like Williams will he's one of them um big big play sort of merchants where he won't get he'll probably get 2 or 3 catches, but they'll go for 120 yards. Whereas Amon-Ra St. Brown probably does a lot of the dog work for him. Um, and then my other one, which again I'm hoping is a bit of a shootout, I've gone with Jamar Chase.
yeah,
Um, Playing Baltimore, I think they're not nowhere near the same defense at the moment. I'm hoping that he'll come in and perform really well. It's at 16.4, so they're all around a similar price point. They're not the sort of top end, but they're in probably the next section underneath that this week. But I put a real emphasis on the wide receivers. I feel like some real good matchups
yeah. I
for them this
think
week.
hearing your wide receivers now, and we've got two of the same running backs. Really, I think your team might actually be stronger because of your wide receivers.
Yeah,
I think looking back at it now, I would argue if I was looking at one to win on paper, I think I'd favour you at the minute.
yeah. I feel like it's hard though with um, when you look at CMC because if he scores the way we think he's going to score, I'm hoping that all three of them wide receivers score well. I think CMC's, I think, he's going to have a game.
Yeah, it's got her, hasn't
And
it?
and I feel like he's going to tear it up a little bit. The way that they utilise him as well, and the way that the Titans are at the minute, I feel like he's going to get a lot of touches, a lot of reps. So I feel like I know what you're saying. I feel like more teams probably more all rounded, whereas but I feel like CMC has that game. He probably makes up for two of them players as well as the other two running backs. So
Yeah, well, mine's a little bit gambles, isn't it? I've gone for maybe the weaker wide receiver, but they you won't be as confident with them, but you have them weeks where they do it. You know, Devontae Smith, how many times has outscored AJ Brown? Quite.
yeah, definitely.
I don't think Jaden Higgins outscores Nico, but can he have a for his price point? Can he do better per value possibly? So
Yeah, it's the,
you are right with Devontae Adams, though he's not on it now. So with Devontae, I would probably go looking at it. I'd have two choices: Jameson Williams,
yeah,
which is a game I'd like. You know, Detroit Rams. It should be a shootout, so I'd either look at him or Higgins. Higgins is
yeah.
amazing, but same again, Baltimore, Cincinnati. So I've still got two good options if Adams is out.
Nah, definitely. Like I say, you've got one of the other games that I looked at just because I feel like it's going to be quite a high scoring one. Is is the Giants versus the Commanders.
Hmm.
With everything that's going on with the both teams and injuries and things like that at the minute, I feel like that could be like a under the radar high scoring one, bit of a shootout between the two divisional game as well.
Because that's
Um,
probably a less owned game, isn't it? You know, like
yeah, so I looked at a lot of people like Wandale Robinson and people who's low key been scoring quite high numbers and high points, but probably doesn't get the recognition. Like he's at 14.4. Do you know what I mean? If you're looking to strengthen in other areas, he could be a bit of a steal as well. So um,
yeah, I do like it. I think that's a good one to go with. In terms of tight end,
yeah,
I don't have a lot of money to spend, mate.
I'm in the
And,
same boat.
and you know who I've got, and he probably won't even play. And
Go
joke,
on. Oh yeah, he's a maybe, isn't he, for this week?
yeah. But you know, I'll give you the only reason why I've gone with him.
Go
He's
on.
a good professional one. He's the best player for the money in that position.
Yeah, I feel like the money that he's, I think I looked at him and that was the one thing that put me off was the uncertainty on whether he'll be playing
Mm.
and not kind of knowing that. But I definitely think if he does play for money, the money that you're spending on him, 100% he's worth it.
Yeah.
100%.
I think if he doesn't play, my other two options are Giseke. He had a good game last week.
Yeah,
Um, But you know what? I always feel like with him, he had a really good week last week. He probably won't have a one this week. Or I could even throw Isaiah Likely in as well.
Yeah, I feel like he low key gets a little bit more of the reps now than Mark Andrews, but Mark Andrews is one of them red zone threats, so he'll
Yeah,
get the
yeah,
higher points because of it, but he won't get he won't be making the receptions he's made 2, 3 years ago. But you get him in the
yeah,
red zone, he's a big body, he's good, he'll be in and around that. So
yeah,
I've actually gone with Kaseki.
yeah,
Again, didn't really have much money, so I've gone with Kaseki at 8.4. Again, he had a good week last week. Price point, if he does play, he's more just because he's a red zone threat. But I didn't really have much money to play with, so I've kind of gone with him and took a bit of a stab. He was what I had left.
yeah. You know what though? Like I say, I was in the same price point bracket as you. It was between Njoku, Jasicki, and Likely. We're just taking a stab in the dark. None of
Oh
us are
yeah,
confident any of them do good. It's just you throw a dart and hope the one you pick does well. He had a great game last week, so you would think Bengals and the Ravens are going to be a bit of a shootout. So good choice. You got that same argument for Likely.
yeah,
The reason I went with Njoku, I think he's the best tight end, and you always find with these rookie quarterbacks like Sanders. I think he's looked okay, Sanders.
yeah. I think he's bearing in mind he was the what fourth choice
Yeah,
quarterback at the start of the year, or third choice quarterback at the start of the year. I
yeah,
feel like he's really come into his own in terms of stepping into that role. I think first game he looked a bit shaky, but I also think the offense has got to adapt to the quarterback
yeah,
that you've got in there. Like you get him in there, what's his pros and cons? He's different to Dylan Gabriel, different to Kenny Pickett, different to Joe Flacco. So
yeah,
um, it's hard, but I'm glad he's got his chance because I feel like his reputation and his dad has kind of tarnished where he would be. People would put
yeah.
him as a first round pick, and then he dropped to the fifth round. But maybe hopefully that will come back to bite some of these teams that really need a quarterback now. So
Well, like I said, I watched a lot of Sanders last year. He was in the Big 12.
yeah,
Did I? And he was rumored to go to the Raiders in the first round, and I didn't have a first round grade on him. But if we took
yeah,
him in the second round early, I would have been happy with that. He's that
yeah.
second round. He had that talent, so it doesn't shock me he's doing well. Everyone knows he dropped not because of his talent; it was because of his reputation.
Oh yeah, I think that's massive. It massively true. Like he's dropped because of the things around him and what people said. You've seen it over the years where people have slipped. Like it happened with Aaron Rodgers, and
Yeah.
as soon as people start slipping, other people, I think other GMs that may not have looked at him because they didn't think he'd be on the board,
Mm.
second guess it and go, why are people that have done the checks and have done the looks behind the curtain, why are they not picking him? So I feel like people then get scared and kind of step away from players like that. But I do think him dropping to the fifth was a shock. I thought he'd be a early second round pick easy.
Yeah.
I was shocked if he'd have fell to the third, but to fall to the fifth, I thought was balmy.
Well, when I seen him in the third, I said we've got to pull the trigger, and I sat
Yeah,
around until he went. And I still think. Do you think he's a franchise quarterback? Does he have a career
no,
in the NFL?
I think he's got a career. I think I seen this argument before with Cam Newton. He was talking about franchise quarterback and game managers. He's a
Yeah.
game manager where you would put him in as either a backup at a really good team who's competing, or he would be like you wouldn't be moaning if he was in instead of Marcus Mariota
Yeah.
at the Commanders. You wouldn't be too fussed if he was the backup at your team, or he was kind of taking some of them reps. The New Orleans Saints would absolutely kill to have him.
Yeah. You know what my take on him was? Not in terms of how he.
So I do think he has got a career in there.
Yeah, I said how I compared him, not in terms of how he plays, but the career he could have. Is very similar to like a Kirk Cousins in the fact that he's
Yeah,
he's
I could
not
see
good.
that.
He's a quarterback who's not going to win you games. Like Josh Allen, Mahomes. Them ones who take the game by the scruff of the neck and win it.
Yeah,
Uh, But he's also a quarterback who I don't think is going to lose you games either. So
nah. I feel like you put him in a system, and I feel like the Browns is good for him
yeah,
because
they
they've
got a
got a
good
good
game.
they've got a good defense. They pride themselves on the running game. So you're not asking too much of him. You're asking him to make the right throws at the right times. You're not asking him to like Josh Allen carries the Bills.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes carries the Chiefs. Like to an extent, Lamar Jackson carries the Ravens. Like they're nowhere near the same team without him.
Mm.
Whereas I feel like for the Browns, they've put money in other areas like the running backs and the defense, like you say, like Myles Garrett and people like that. So if you put him in the Steelers um or you put him in like the Browns or someone like that, you wouldn't where they've got a good setup around a good coaching system. You feel like he'd do well. Like I feel he would do well at like the Steelers, but if he went to a team like the Jets, he'd just be getting hung out to dry.
Yeah, same as the Raiders, stuff like that.
Look at Cam Ward. Do you know what I mean? He's coming as a first round pick. People comparing the two of them, but who's realistically probably now in a better situation?
Mm.
When you look at it, like how long is Cam Ward going to get beaten up for? Knocked about. Like look at Bryce Young. Um, how long is that going to happen for until they get things sorted? So I feel like for Sanders, it's not been the worst scenario. He's just had to wait a long time for his chance. So I'm hoping he takes it because I feel like,
If I was personally the Browns, I'd move forward with him personally.
yeah, I don't think there's anyone out there that they could get they bring in who's going to be any better than him, unless you're going to get a veteran and bring him in like what the Giants did with Russell Wilson.
Mm.
Bring him in to try and hopefully develop him, and then let the rookie take over and come through. But it's the Browns though, so I don't trust in the organisation because every time they do something good, they somehow mess it up. So
And I've got a feeling Stefanski might go, which I think will be a mistake. It'll be very similar to what Titans did with Vrabel.
yeah,
That
I
that's
feel like
that's my take at the Browns. Stefanski goes the end of the season.
yeah, but I always think as well like it'll be whoever the hot coordinator is this year that they'll sack him and bring him in and try and just think that is the difference. Where I don't know, I think it'd be a mistake as well. I think you'd keep him, let him. He's got a new quarterback. They've purchased obviously Myles Garrett and things like that, and just kind of see what he can do with
Yeah.
that team
If it was
for
me,
at least another year.
I think if it was me, they just need to invest in a true wide receiver one.
Yeah, Jerry Judy's not him, is he?
Good wide receiver too,
Yeah,
but just good. He's not going to change your franchise.
no, definitely not.
So we'll move to defense, and I think I've got the best value defense.
Go on then.
Eagles.
Okay.
9.2. They're playing a Raiders team who we could argue is the worst team in the NFL. If they're not the worst team in the NFL, they're in the bottom three.
Oh, I think they're in the bottom three, definitely. Them the Titans, 100%. They're in and around it.
Yeah. So the Raiders don't have an O line.
Yeah,
They're also going to be without Gino.
yeah.
Kenny Pickett's going to play.
Wow.
Now you've also got, I think we changed offensive coordinator 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Him to know his playbook in 2 weeks, pretty difficult. We know the Eagles can be vicious.
yeah. Big boys up front.
So for me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I could see that. I feel like they'll bring the pressure. Jalen Carter and people like that will try and get into Pickett and
I actually think Eagles would have been a better pick though if Gino was playing because they're going to force him to intercept. He does like 2 interceptions against a bad defense.
yeah, I feel like I can see that. I definitely think it's a good pick. I think that will bring that, and I think the Eagles need it as bad as it sounds saying it to a Raiders fan, but they need a game where they're just going to go and absolutely steamroll the team and try and get their season. I say back on track, but try and get some positives come out of it because they haven't been the same team this year. You haven't seen what Saquon was doing last year and AJ Brown and all these, and even the defense. They haven't been the same team, but. I feel like the Eagles are like that though. They 1 year they're really good, and the next year they're just off. They got to a Super Bowl. The next year they were terrible. Won a Super Bowl, and then this year they're not very good or not as good as what they were.
I always feel sorry for the Eagles. They're a victim of their own success in they always lose coordinators, don't they, to head coaching jobs and stuff like that.
I think any team that does well in a year, they'll lose.
You
Like
look at
how many people are probably eyeing up the Broncos offensive or defensive coaches? Same with how many people are lining up, like say the Patriots defensive coordinator and play people like that. Like the Lions lost both of them in the summer.
yeah.
So
And you can tell, can't you? Even though they've still
yeah,
been okay, but they haven't been what they was last year.
no, definitely, and I feel like the Eagles are probably playing the Raiders bad as it sounds. You always need that team that are on the schedule that's gonna give you a bit of confidence and help you sort of grow. And I feel like this season, the Titans and the Raiders, every time you see them on the schedule, you're looking and going like, this is a game where AJ Brown's going to score high points. Saquon's going to hopefully get touchdowns and get over the line. So you can kind of see why you would pick them. I think that defense is going to come hard for Kenny Pickett and Ashton Genty. I feel like they're just going to stack the box and go and put it in Pickett's hands and go try and beat us.
I feel so sorry for Jenny against them, you know.
This is the problem though. Like with running backs, you see it before where these rookie running backs come in that are obviously tearing it up in college, and then they haven't got the team around them to support them, and then next thing you know, they're just getting absolutely annihilated week in week out, and it's just that's where they pick up silly injuries and things like that, and just kind of derail their career in some cases. And I think Genty might be a victim of that with the Raiders.
I'd probably stick him on the IR list, even though he's not injured, just to save him. But
Yeah,
yeah,
mate. Yeah, review it in the
where are you going in defense?
Gotta go with the boys. Gotta go with the dogs. Let them off the chain. Yeah, let the boys go. Let the Texans go. I
Yeah,
feel like they're gonna get after the Cardinals. I think Jacoby Brissett's obviously the quarterback. Um, I just think that that secondary is so scary, and
yeah.
and for watching them to be able to get sacks and put pressure on a quarterback with three, like let alone four. I just think that that defense at the minute is the hottest commodity at the moment. Like they are the shutting teams down that are steamrolling through other teams,
Yeah.
and shutting them down really well.
I'll be honest, if I was Jacoby Brissett, I wouldn't sleep, you know. This
Nah,
week I'd be having nightmares. I just
nah. We'll
wouldn't want it.
not even that. Like I'd be all these wide receivers. You get a ball come over the top, you know you're getting hit. Like I feel like their mentality, the Texans' mentality is, we ain't even bothered about the ball. We're just gonna go around and whack people,
Fuck is
and it's just kind of that's that mentality, that's that kind of brute force that they've got at the minute. And I think teams don't want to play them, and I feel like it's uh it's an exciting time for us. I feel like as a Texans fan, we haven't probably had this in a defense since JJ Watt was there.
Hmm.
So seeing people like Will Anderson and Darrell Hunter and get after people, and that secondary again, got Singletary and Bullock and Lassiter go, and I just think and Jalen Petrie, it's a joy to watch as a Texans fan after years of suffering. The boys that look like they're clicking. So
Yeah.
hopefully I'm not eating my words, but I try not to get my hopes up too much as a Texans fan.
Well, all I can say, mate, is because the Raiders season's been so bad, I don't watch the Raiders game this year. I watch all the games. And
Yeah,
Texans, and it's funny actually, I think Texas have got it quite good because I think you look at Texans, best team to watch on defense. You look at the Cowboys, they're always in fun games, aren't they?
yeah,
You know, like they're, as a neutral, they are fun games. So I think if you're out in Texas now, you're enjoying your Sundays, and you're watching both teams.
yeah. Like I say that, yeah, and I'm glad because Texas is just an unbelievable place, just in general, and you can tell they live and breathe football. So it's good that both teams, Cowboys doing better than what everyone expected them,
Yeah, yeah.
especially with the off season stuff. I feel like they've done well. Like people, we know how sort of a maverick Jerry Jones is in terms like that, but I think he's done really well with the Parsons stuff. To be
Yeah,
able to trade him and then bring in Quentin Williams and sort of bring it and keep first round picks, and I think they've done well to build that team. I think the biggest thing that's going to happen is in the off season for them is how do they keep George Pickens? Um,
Jerry will just dig some more oil money up on it and give him.
yeah, he's going to have to do something because that they need to. If they can keep them two, I feel like you putting them up there as the like one of the best 1-2 punches in the league.
Yeah, I would agree. And
Like even
Dak has been probably one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch this year. I think he's been great.
yeah, and I think for me, I think surprise of the season, one of the surprises of the season, is Williams, the running
Yeah,
back. No one expected him to put up the scores that he's been putting up and the points that he's been putting up. Like he's been a real workhorse for them.
no one, people was questioning at the start of the season that he was cooked.
Yeah,
But
yeah. After that knee injury, I think he was never the same at the Broncos, and I feel like
um,
he's gone and resurrected. He's gone to Texas. Obviously, the environment, probably the place, he's better than, and he's just enjoying it. And um, I just think the Cowboys are probably doing better than what people expected them to be doing. New head coach.
no one liked the head coach pick either, did they?
No, and even the defense, like they've seen something. They've not waited till the end of the year to fix it. They've fixed it mid-season, and what are they probably giving up? They're probably giving up whichever pick they've given up. They're probably looking at it and go, well, them and the Packers are going to be in a similar boat. So realistically, what they've lost nothing, but they've gained Quinton Williams, who
Yeah.
he's a massive asset. Like he's a very good defensive tackle.
Yeah.
So I feel like they've done really well, and for the Texans, we've built more for the draft.
Yeah.
And my biggest fear is in a couple of years, Stroud's going to be up for getting an extension. Nico Collins is probably going to want more money. That defense, you've got to start paying all of them boys, otherwise they're moving on and getting bigger contracts somewhere else. And then we're in a position now where if we don't do something in the next 2 years, we're going to hit that cycle again.
Yeah, I must admit, I did put a tweet out. What it was probably a couple of weeks back when when Cowboys just come off 2 wins. I said, "Who would you rather be?" Because both hit a bit of form, haven't they? Texans and Cowboys. I said, who would you rather be, a Texans fan or a Cowboys fan at this minute? And Texans won it quite comfortably. So the
Yeah, I think
confidence.
yeah, I think there is. I think for the Cowboys, the problem that they've got is they've got too many players that need paying.
Yeah,
That's the
and
problem.
Dak's age is an issue.
And the money's on.
Mhm.
Like for me, the conversation, like if I was the owners and if I was Dak in his position, going, I'm playing the best football probably I have since I've got into the league and I first like took the league by storm. I need to kind of look at what I'm getting paid and go, I need to kind of go, look, let's restructure it because I want to keep people like George Pickens. I want to keep that defense because ultimately you getting paid 60, 70 million a year, whatever he's getting paid, means that we can't pay this position and that position. And then you're sitting there getting paid 60 million to have a losing record. I feel like the best example of that is like someone like Tom Brady, who never took the highest money, was
Yeah.
never the highest paid player. But look how good, look at the weapons he had, look at the offensive line, look at the defense he had, and
Yeah.
look at the success he had from it. So there's obviously a blueprint for it, but I understand that people want to get paid and
Yeah, it is.
they want to earn the money, don't they? So
I was actually very shocked Jerry didn't draft Sanders as a, because I think what Dak probably got left after this 2 more years.
if that,
So if he's got 2 years left, you could have had Sanders sitting, waiting, learning, and Dak's always partial to an injury.
yeah, I feel like this season he's doing a far better than what everyone expected him to do.
Yeah.
I
It
feel
is
like he's kind
better.
of gone a bit under the radar. Like everyone, like for me, as much as it say pains to say as a Texans fan and being in Texas, like and, and knowing Texas fans, which I think is probably the reason why people don't like the people don't like the Cowboys is more the fans more than anything. Um, he's he's probably up there with MVP caliber
Yeah.
conversation. He's got to be. He's got to be,
Yeah.
and I think so I think it's good. It's good to see, and I feel like we said at the start, I feel like it's good to see some of these teams that no one expected to do well to be in and around it. It's fresh, it's new for the NFL. It's not watching the 49ers versus the Chiefs every Super Bowl. It's not. Do you know what I mean? So I'm. It's nice to be part of it, but also I'm liking seeing the likes of the Patriots and the Broncos and all these sort of teams, and obviously on the NFC side, seeing like the Seahawks do well and teams like that that are probably going to come out of it and not seeing the Eagles, 49ers, and they come out of it every year and are fighting for it. So I'm glad to see it. I feel like even the Rams, I think the Rams have been a breath of fresh air to watch. Like Stafford looks like he's got to be an MVP for me. Them Stafford and Dak are up there for me
Yeah.
for how they're playing. I feel like they're playing unbelievably well.
Yeah, I think the three, because it's always going to be a quarterback, so rule out Jonathan Taylor. But I think for me, the top three probably are, I think Drake May.
Yeah,
Look what he done at the Patriots. Drake May, Stafford, and I think Dak. They'd be me
I feel,
three. If I was
yeah,
to vote, I'd vote for one of them three.
I feel like I would. My big question with Drake Man, and I feel like he's. Do you think he will be a franchise quarterback in terms of the caliber of Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Rodgers when he was in his prime, or do you think he'll be more of a game manager, i.e., like as bad as I say, so I really like him. He's people like Jared Goff. Is
Yeah.
he gonna be? Is he gonna be one of them where he's more of a game manager, where he's not even Matthew Stafford to an extent. He's not. He's not the guy that's gonna put the team on his back and go, "I'm gonna carry you to here." I think where's the ceiling for Drake, man? I think
I think
that's where my question marks are.
my ceiling is from is Josh Allen. I think he's as close to Josh Allen in terms of what he. It's definitely physicality. Big, big
Yeah,
quarterback. He can rush. Not the best
yeah,
rusher, but he can rush. He's got a big arm.
yeah,
Tough. He's come in 2 years and he's changed franchise.
yeah.
Will he reach that? I don't know. You might be right. He might just end up being a game manager. But I say ceiling is a Josh Allen.
Nah, it's interesting to no. I feel like it with people like Bo Nix and that, with how the Broncos are doing well. Look, them two quarterbacks come in the league at the same time. I think there was only a couple of picks between them, wasn't there? I think
Yeah,
was
yeah,
May like the second or third, and he was like fourth or fifth or something like
yeah.
that. So I feel like them two, it's kind of like the question mark for now for them two is, can they take the step to the next level? Can they take that step to be that guy, or are they just going to be kind
I
of,
think Bo Nix is definitely a game manager. I think the ceiling's high with Drake, man.
yeah, I can see that. I feel like he's in such a good environment with Frank Vrabel and stuff like that. And I think for Vrabel, he's never had a quarterback like you look at him and you say his quarterbacks when he took over were Ryan Tannehill and then Will Levis.
Yeah.
He's never had a quarterback at the level of him. So I'm interested to see what he can do. Like it's interesting to see how the Patriots have adapted under him, and I feel like I think they're a shock of the season. Them and the Colts. I feel like no one expected the Colts to be as good as what they were. Unfortunately, they've had injuries. Like for them, fortunate for me as a Texans fan, but they've sort of run away with the league, and then they've kind of been reeled back in due to injuries. And
Yeah, I
but then
think
you,
with their injuries now, I don't even know they win another game.
yeah, I just think Jonathan Taylor teams now are just going to try and shut him down. And
Yeah.
when you've and they're looking at the quarterback position and going, throw it. Uh, let's see what you can do. And I feel like that's uh that's not good for him. Whereas the start of the season, Daniel Jones was playing out of his skin. Like we probably would have, if you'd have carried on that sort of level of play, we'd be putting him in the MVP caliber kind of conversation. So
Yeah, it's true. But Josh, I've got some bad news for us. Only
go on.
after this weekend, we've only got three more regular weekends.
I don't know, man. The season just got too quick, man.
We'll have the playoffs to concentrate on, but these big, big lineups are gone.
Yeah, and I think like we've having some really good matchup, and I think there's some good matchups in the last few weeks as well, which
Yeah.
are even more riding on it with the playoff picture kind of forming. So even more riding on it, even sort of these games become more and more important the later on in the season. So I feel like we're in for some real treats.
Right. That's us done, Josh. We will have to go. We will be back for week 16. Make sure everyone gets involved. Join on Fanteam, 18 plus gamble, be aware. Link will be in the description. Thanks for your time, Josh. It's been good to have you back.
Yeah, man, it's been happy to be back. Hopefully, won't miss a few more weeks now. Near to the
So,
end.
yes, enjoy the weekend, and we'll see
And
you all
you,
next week.
and see you later.
Wait.